Hello, and once again, welcome to this show. I'm going to rebrand this show as the show about becoming better every day. And let me preface that by saying why I am renaming it that way, because I find that at the end of the day, if I'm going to come here and invest my time into doing this, I want to do it for good reasons, right? And so, in on one aspect of it, I want to do it because I know that it's going to help me build my presence. It's going to help me build my brand. And the second thing that I want to be able to do is that I want to be able to capture all this content, because at some point in time when you're going to be looking back at this content, you're going to go and see that it is all going to be awesome, and the amount of information and knowledge that is being codified into these pieces of content is just going to be tremendous. And of course, as a business person, I've always asked myself, if I'm going to invest time into doing something, am I able to use it as an asset? And an asset is something that you own it, and it kind of generates returns for you over and over and over again. So a simple way of thinking about assets basically is, if you think about money in the bank, and if you get the money to do the work, the money is going to earn you more money. And however, if you do not put the money to work well, then it's not going to earn you any money. In fact, it's probably going to cost you money to put in the bank. So, as I say, like a business person, I would always want to be asking myself, the time, effort, and energy and resources that I'm putting into doing this, how is it going to help me in my business? Am I able to use it as an asset? And obviously, this is what I want to get into. All right, so I'm thinking of rechristening this show as the Become Better Every Day as an Entrepreneur, right? Become a better entrepreneur every day. How does that sound? Right? Let me know what your thoughts are. Like I said, this whole endeavor has always been an experiment, and you really want to experiment with many things and see what happens. Like I said, at the end of this, I don't know, maybe I'll make a fool of myself, but hopefully not, right? So yeah, so today I want to tell you about a joke. The joke goes like this, right? There is this shop down the street, and in front of this shop itself, there is this huge clock. And every morning, there will be this gentleman who would walk past the shop, and he would stop at the shop every morning without fail. And what he will do is he will then take out his pocket watch, and he would start synchronizing his watch to the big clock in front of the store. And so he did that for every day for a number of years. Then one day, the owner of the store happened to be at the sidewalk sweeping. And when the owner saw this gentleman, he got curious, and he asked this gentleman, I've been observing you for years, and every single day you will stop right in front of my store. And what's going on, right? What is it that what makes you stop in front of my store? And the gentleman looked at him and said that, well, I'm in charge of the 5 p.m. bell in the town hall. And so I just want to make sure that my clock is accurate. The owner looks at this man and he stared at him for a while. And his reply was, oh, that's funny. Because for the last couple of years, I've been adjusting my clock to the bell in the town hall. Right, so funny little story, but what is it that we can learn from this joke? Well, this joke tells us that this man would stop by the shop to synchronize his watch every day, thinking that the clock in front of the shop, it's accurate. And using that as a reference, he would then adjust his watch and head back to work. And at work, he's responsible for doing something so important. And that thing that is important is to ring the bell in the town hall at 5 p.m. Little did he know that the owner of the store has been synchronizing his clock to the bell in the town hall. What does that tell us, right? It tells us that sometimes there are things that we do that we kind of assume that that is the right thing to do. Maybe because everyone in our family does it. Maybe because everyone in our society does it. Maybe because every one of our friends do it. And sometimes we may not stop to question, is that the right way to do things? Is that the right way? And quite often I would remind my son, who's 9 years old, by the way, I will remind my son that in life, very few things are absolute, right? Because if you say that, wow, this piece of art, it's beautiful, there will be people who would find it not beautiful, or there will be people who find other pieces of work more beautiful than the other. And so there is quite an absolute definitive sense of like, this is good and this is not good, right? Because under different circumstances, certain thing may be interpreted as good and certain thing may be interpreted as not good. Not because it is good or not good, but it's just the interpretation of it. And so many of us, especially, as an entrepreneur, we may follow what other people are doing and we'd assume that that is the right thing to do. We may assume that that is the thing to do because that's what everybody does. For example, you should always give out a free something in exchange for an email address. Is that the way it works? I don't know, right? And this afternoon, I was just chatting with these two wonderful people from Australia, and they were telling me that they have been on the journey to look at people who can coach them. And And in the process itself, they say that they have discovered some really nice people as well as some not so nice people. And so I was sharing with them my own experience with webinar. In fact, I just signed up for a webinar a couple of days back. And in the webinar itself, I mean, the way that it's written, it says that, we're going to show you exactly it's done. We're going to peel back the curtains and we are going to show you how this whole thing is done. And, give us 45 minutes of your life and we will show you the tips and strategies of how to get this thing done. And as I attend this webinar, 10 minutes into it, nothing has been said. 20 minutes into it, nothing has been said. It's into it, except you already know that it's, you can Google it, you can find it anywhere on the internet. And then, just in the last 10 minutes of the webinar, it was just basically hard selling, right? It was just saying that, well, we got this course and we're going to help you do all that. But hang on a second. I mean, the reason why I got onto this webinar is because you told me that you're going to tell me how this is going to be done. Right? Call me naive, right? Call me what you will, but that was what was advertised, but you didn't deliver what was advertised. How am I supposed to trust you to help me really, even if I pay, whatever amount it is to you for this particular purpose? I mean, how would I know that you're going to honor your end of the bargain? And I think, many of you and many of us have, sat through many of this so-called free, I'll show you how to do this in 2 hours, or do, all that bullshit. And at the end of it, we realize that, hey, this is not the way it is. But as an entrepreneur, as someone who is doing it, in a legit way, does it mean that just because everybody is doing that, you should be doing that, I should be doing that? I don't think so. Right? So in my case, for example, whenever I do a webinar, sure, I don't give away, everything, including the kitchen sink. But what I do is I would tell them exactly what to expect. I would say that, well, if you attend my webinar about video storytelling, what I would do for you in that 45 minutes is I will share with you the framework, one of the 3 frameworks that we use to help our clients script out their videos. And of course, during the webinar itself, I need to set the context. I need to give the settings. I need to explain the process of video production. But yeah, I mean, if you stick around, and I want you to stick around, right? But if you stick around at the 10 to 15 minutes mark, that is where I will teach you the framework that I use, one of the 3 frameworks that I use to help my clients in scripting their videos. And so that's a promise, and that was what was exactly described in the marketing material that we put out, because we want people to go away, at the end of, after having invested that amount of time with us, we want people to go away feeling that, yeah, I would love to attend the full course, but, probably now is not the time. However, I did, go away gaining something from it. And so that became the premise of it. I mean, that became the thing that we want to make sure that when people come to our webinar, they actually get something out of it. And even when we put out our free courses on our online school, catalyticcourses.com. Even when we put out free courses, we do not just give people the what, but we also tell people the how. Like, for example, today I put out a free course, something that I created some time back, right? I gave out a free course on the top 5 challenges why most online course creators are not remarkable. And in the write-up itself, I will tell you what these 5 challenges are. And then I'll tell you that, if you enroll for this free course, you would then be able to find out what exactly it is to address, or to address these challenges, to resolve these challenges. And it's a promise, right? So when you sign up, even though it's free, and yes, I do want your email address, but I also want to build a relationship with you, right? So when you sign up and when you go through the course, it does tells you the 5 challenges, the top 5 challenges why online course creators are not remarkable. It also gives you, suggested solutions to address that. Sure, I mean, I'm not obliged to give you everything in its entirety. Then how am I being answerable to my paid clients? However, I give you something good enough to address that. And it is in the hopes that when you apply the strategies or the checklist or the tools that and if you actually bother to implement this, you're gonna get some results. And that's the whole point, because once you get certain results, it builds up that mutual trust between you and I, because you know that, hey, even though it's free, the material does provide real value. I mean, it doesn't just tell me what my blind spot is, but it also gives me suggested solutions to address my blind spots. And so what are you going to go away thinking, right? Well, I mean, if you are someone who is ethical and smart, you're going to go away thinking that, hey, whenever he puts out something free, I want to check it out, because the last time I had a great experience, and I think he is going to give me that same experience again. And of course, it's up to me to screw myself up, right? But the point is that now you have a certain trust in me, and you have that desire to want to find out, or to look at what else I'm putting out, right? And so as a result of that, we kind of build that trust, and because of that trust, we are able to consider if both of us are good fit to be working together. So the premise of the joke is that when we take certain things to assume that the very thing that we are doing, or we have been doing, is the right thing, and we make the assumption without validating the assumption or testing the assumption, especially when situation changes, if we do that, if we accept that as the thing to do without validating assumption, without challenging assumptions, then what's going to happen? We are probably going to end up doing what everyone else is doing. And so how then are we going to stand out from the competition, right? Okay, so that's my sharing for today, and I want you to check out Catalytic Courses, right? So it's catalyticcourses.com. If you can, could you just help me type that in? So it's catalyticcourses.com in the comments. Help me type that in the comments. Take a look at some of the resources that I have put up. Some are free, some are paid, but they are all affordable. And what's gonna happen? It's sometime probably towards the mid of June. What we're gonna do is we are also going to launch we're gonna do a soft launch of our community on that platform itself. So the entire platform, it's the good thing about that is that it doesn't require you to download an app. I do not know about you, but I hate downloading apps. So if you ask me that I have to download another app, I think it increases the amount of inertia for me. And we talked about inertia yesterday, right? So it doesn't require you to download an app. It is HTML5 compatible, so you can view it on your computer, you can view it on your cell phone, on your tablet. It all looks good and it all works, right? So we're exploring with that platform. We're very satisfied with how the platform has been performing so far. It's robust, it's scalable, and it's got a strong integration as well with third-party tools, which we are very glad to have. Right, so with that, I am going to say thank you for watching. And this, I think I'm gonna christen this show the Become a Better Entrepreneur Everyday Show. What do you think? What are your thoughts for that name? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you tomorrow. Speak soon. Bye-bye.